watching Tabletop Legends. If you like the episode, subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon to enable notifications. A new episode goes up every Monday. You can also join us live on the Proficiency Bonus Twitch channel every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Enjoy. Tabletop Legends would like to thank our presenting sponsor, the 8th House and Marble Moon Studio, an independently and ethically sourced witchy lifestyle and home goods shop, supporting small businesses and creating a safe, inclusive space and community for witchy folk. Find them online at marblemoonstudio.com or shopthe8thhouse.com. Hello, Tabletop Legends! Welcome. It's been a while. The DM might have been trying to mess with things 3 seconds before stream, so now I had to get his notes open. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Tonight is episode 17. Yes, episode 17 of Tabletop Legends. As always, I am Matt. I am your host and dungeon master, as I am joined by a group of my friends here as we continue our adventure playing some 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons in a homebrew world of my own creation. It's been a little bit of a crazy past several weeks. Our last regular play session was 3 weeks ago at this point. Episode 15 was the last time we had a normal session. We had a one-shot week. We had a week where I was on vacation, so we did our pre-recorded Quiplash episode. It was 2 weeks ago. And then last week, we got punched in the genitals by Mother Nature, and we had rolling blackouts all through the area. We had power, but not internet, so we were not able to stream. We just kind of gathered together. We played some private tabletop games ourselves. We played Gun, Bullet, shoot 'em up, Bang.
Dice game.
Okay, we played a dice game called Bang, where we learned that clearly I'm a tactical genius and nobody understands my brilliance.
I was chair.
I kept trying to make psychological maneuvers and losing because of it.
Star Wars Trivial Pursuit, where we all learned we're not as much...
Really, the problem was my wife just kept shooting me at every opportunity she got. Anyway, so tonight we are back with a regular episode of Tabletop Legends. We're going to pick up where we left off. So since it has been so long, I do not want to spend too long messing about before we get into the recap. So let's hit those sponsors. I want to thank Proficiency Bonus' sponsors, Streamlabs, the Twitch affiliate program, Many-Sided Dice, and Team MZ for supporting small streamers like us. I would like to thank Tabletop Legends presenting sponsor, the Marble Moon Studio and the 8th House, an independently and ethically sourced witchy lifestyle and home goods shop, supporting small businesses and encouraging a safe and inclusive space and community for witchy folk. You can find them online at marblemoonstudio.com and shopthe8thhouse.com. All sorts of cool, hip cat, witchy folk stuff you can get. Apparel, things like mugs, like the Tabletop Legends Magic AF mug, both with and without our brand name on it. There's my set piece mug full of a bunch of dungeon tiles that I keep around. So please check them out. They have both just recently launched tarot decks, custom-made tarot decks. I believe Marble Moon Studios is fully funded, so you are running out of time to get in on the backer perks. Shop the 8th House. The 8th House, I believe, is still in the funding process, so check Kickstarter for both of those. Last but not least, Little Dragon Corp. Proficiency Bonus is now sponsored by Little Dragon Corp. You can visit littledragoncorp.com for all of your dice and gaming needs. Make sure to check out their special Birthstone dice sets, which are now available. Speaking of Birthstone dice sets, so last week was Proficiency Bonus's birthday week, which was the week where they were doing a giveaway all week, sponsored by Little Dragon Corp, where all of their streams gave away a set of Birthstone dice to one lucky winner. We, however, had a power outage last week, so we were not able to take part in that, which means, surprise, tonight is the extra special proficiency bonus belated birthday bash extravaganza.
Very merry on birthday to you.
We're like the channel's crappy relative that remembers your birthday like a week later and then sends you a birthday card wishing you a happy 10th birthday, but you're 28.
See it on Facebook first. But we send an awesome gift card.
Yes, so that's it. Even though it's a week late and it's the wrong birthday, they did give you a Chipotle gift card, so you can't be too mad at them. Except for instead of a Chipotle gift card, we're giving away dice.
Every birthday I got you a train set. How old are you now? 9?
So you can type exclamation point little dragon in the Twitch chat at any time for a quick link to their website. And if you do intend to purchase anything from them, you can use the coupon code BONUS at checkout and receive 10% off of your order. So thank you, Little Dragon Corp, for sponsoring Proficiency Bonus, and we'll start spreading the word now. Let's get those raffles going. We'll also do. Let's say if we get 15 concurrent viewers, we'll reduce our number. If we get 15 concurrent viewers during tonight's session, we'll give away one of our Tabletop Legends mugs as well. We should give away a Chipotle gift card. Yeah, screw it. At some point tonight, we're gonna give away a Chipotle gift card to somebody. I will send someone a Chipotle gift card with $1 on it.
Well, it may actually not matter because right now we're apparently still hosting somebody else.
Yeah, I can't get our stream up, so I don't know what's going on.
We were streaming for like half a second and then it bumped back. So somebody with
Other proficiency people people are trying to figure it out.
Are they working on it for us right now?
Yes, I mentioned it in the Discord and now they're trying to figure it out.
Oh boy. Wouldn't be...
Hey, YouTube video. In the future. This is,
Smash that like button and maybe you'll get a
Chipotle gift card.
I don't know if... I guess we should just sit here and wait until we go streaming live again. I'm getting a loading screen.
I'm getting us. That's our own stream, ladies and gentlemen. We're live! We're back!
Tell me, is this happening on stream yet?
No, because it's probably like 3 minutes ago.
pass Rebecca named the fourth tree.
Oh, okay, I see us. I'm waving my arms.
We did it.
We did it! Jesus Christ. Okay. She's naming trees. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We just did a whole bunch of stuff that you didn't see because it didn't stream live. So to give a quick recap of the recap, tonight is the special.
He's gotta look at his notes.
I gotta look at the notes.
He doesn't remember what he called it.
It was like 15 words long. Give me a break. Is the extra special proficiency bonus belated birthday bash extravaganza, which is a long way of saying because of our power outage last week that we were not able to stream our regular session. We did not get to take part in proficiency bonus's birthday week, so we're doing it now. God damn it! We are going to give away a set of birthstone dice provided by Little Dragon Corp, one of our sponsors tonight, to one lucky viewer. So. Tune in, tell your friends to tune in. We are going to be giving away a set of dice. If you watched all of last week's streams and tried to win one and didn't, and have been regretting every decision in your life since then, you have one more chance right now, tonight. We're going to give away a set of birthday dice. We're also, if we can get up to 15 concurrent viewers, going to give away a Tabletop Legends mug. And we are also, although this doesn't make sense to anybody who's watching this now because they weren't here for the joke that spawned it.
Does that make it better?
Yeah.
Make it better.
You don't need to know the context, but I'm giving a Chipotle gift card worth $1 to somebody.
So pick up the phone, call your parents, tell them you love them, and then tell them to turn on Tabletop Legends.
Just watch Tabletop Legends, spread the word. So if we can get up to 15 viewers, we'll give away a mug. Regardless of how many people we get watching tonight, we're going to give away a set of birthstone dice.
What's the cheapest, what's the lowest gift card Chipotle gets?
If it's not $1, I will buy whatever it is, buy a burrito, and then mail somebody the mostly used gift card. I don't give a crap.
We didn't say it would be a lot of them.
Honestly, that fits the joke
Why
better.
don't you just mail them the burrito?
Tabletop Legends, we'll mail you a burrito.
Oh, that's a shirt I'm gonna wear.
It sounds like a threat more than anything.
Tabletop Legends, we'll mail you a burrito.
You watch it. You don't think we'll mail you a burrito? We will.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, because we're gonna mail you a burrito.
Honey, what is it? It's a burrito.
My God, a burrito, Jim.
They've come for us.
We've weaponized Mexican food here at Tabletop Legends.
Didn't Taco Bell already do that? Taco Bell, sponsor us.
Please. This whole operation is quickly falling apart. All right, everybody, just like, woo! Let's pull it together.
So we're gonna play Pathfinder, right?
Yep, we're gonna play Pathfinder. Okay, so it's been a few weeks since we've had our regular session. Let's hit the recap. And you know what? I'm gonna open the giveaway right now. Give everybody a chance to join in on this piece. Exclamation point! Give. There it is. All right, so the giveaway is now open at any time, and I will remind you periodically. At any time, anybody who wants can type birthday in the chat, and you will be entered for a drawing to win definitely a set of Birthstone dice. If we can get some more viewers, a set of or a Tabletop Legends mug, and because I feel like it, a Chipotle gift card with $1 on it that maybe I have used. So good luck, everyone. May the odds be ever in your favor. All right, recap time. The party are currently traveling south on the Nivian River, headed for Niveria, the capital city of Mithlinde. They are secretly in possession of a dark magic wand that they recovered from a monster in a dwarven crypt who had been using it to summon undead that were terrorizing a small town as they collected anything magical and returned it to him. After deciding to hide the item from a Mithlindian inquisitor, they are following the original contract that they were seemingly randomly brought together to do by a man named Torian Idrian. On behalf of some mysterious benefactor. Unsure of the intentions of this unknown employer, they have decided at least to follow through and try and find out what is at the center of this mystery before making any decisions about what they should do with the wand. The last 10 days afloat on the river barge, Brunhildr, secured for their use by Walter, who commands an as yet unclear authority over a group of 4 employees of the Moxham Trading and Mercantile Organization, have left them time to do a little bit of experimentation on a few other magical knickknacks they've picked up in the process of their main objective. Brom, carrying a dagger that doesn't seem to be able to harm living creatures, but when stabbed into a recently deceased fish, glowed faintly purple from a gem in the hilt for about an hour. Alar is carrying a dagger that creates wounds which repair themselves after only a minute or so. Both were found inside what they believed to be an embalming chamber of sorts in the ancient crypt. Nula is wearing the ring that the group retrieved from Rogers and the boys after they had looted it out of a mausoleum in the town of Stone Mill. She has discovered that, at the very least, it has the power to turn small bits of wood into small bits of stone. The group suspects there is more to this ring than they have been able to work out at this point, though. Now, we rejoin the group as they find the path of the Brunhildr barred by a collection of logs lashed together and floated out across a narrow bend of the Nivian River, atop which a group of men, 4 men in Mithlindian home guard armor, stood demanding that the group allow them to board the vessel, inspect their cargo, and collect a toll before allowing the party to proceed onward. Some quick magical messaging between Walter and Raff, the lead Moxham boatman, clued him in that this was an out-of-the-ordinary occurrence, which prompted him to take a closer look at the soldiers and notice that while from a distance the disguises were passable, under scrutiny, several of the men were wearing uniforms that clearly did not fit them properly, and they were unkempt and dirty beneath the outfits. Walter did not hesitate as he sprung into action, immediately triggering the would-be river pirates to do the same. So we kick off tonight's session with initiative.
Who has the
golden d20 tonight.
Because I don't remember.
It's me.
I have a note that just says Brom, and that's the only note that I have. Do you want to know what you guys did last session?
I thought I got it for
The big
Riverboat
fish.
Boss.
Yeah. Fishing by the book.
Maybe I didn't save that note.
But
If
I don't
everybody agrees that Kel
remember.
has it, then Kel
When
can
did
have it.
when did the session with
Oh no, because we
The
already
session-
also had the
The session with you and the
Noldor.
old biddy in the
Was the last
Midlandian was the last
Yeah,
session.
so I think I got it
I
for
thought that was what
Yeah.
you had the
Yeah.
thing for.
Okay.
So I was pretty sure that Brom had the
Okay.
d20 this week. So, Echo, roll initiative.
I believe this guy was born.
What?
Blind.
Yeah, you blinded.
I
someone.
cast,
blinded
I
that
cast
guy.
blind on these two, and only he failed.
Yes. And that one was the one who was talking to you, the one with the
Yes.
sword there. Alrighty.
Why am I down a spell slot?
Get my stat blocks open. Ugh. That's not. That's the Dungeon Master's Guide. This one's the Monster Manual. Alrighty. So, on initiative 25 to 20.
22.
Okay, 22. Kel. Initiative 19 to 15.
18.
15.
18.
You got new dice.
They're my
15 was Alar.
the same dice you gave me.
14 to 10.
12.
11.
12. Wrong. 11. Enter.
Got to regrade the numbers.
Alright, that's everybody? Yes. Okay, so, as Alar kind of, Walter kind of cries out in alarm after noticing the suspicious nature of these guys, throws a hand out, and one of them kind of like, ah! Is going like this. The other four bring crossbows to bear, and the first to react at this point is Kel.
I'm going to cast Gust on this friend over here.
Okay.
It's a DC 15 strength save.
Alrighty, I'm pretty sure he fails.
I saw this. I wish I could. My earth bending's not quite that good.
Well, if you guys want to fight a Yeti, I found that.
No, we're good.
He's actually a were-yeti.
Dun dun dun. There it is. Okay. Yes, he fails.
So we'll get pushed backwards 5 feet.
Okay, so you kind of cast your hands out, and this just strong gust of wind knocks him backwards off the log, and he goes into the drink. It's kind of with a shout of, "Ah!" There's a resounding splash as he goes into the water. Nula, you are up next as one of the bandits falls into the drink.
I will take my javelin
All right.
and throw it at the leader.
All right, you rolled a hit.
Nat 20.
Alrighty, that definitely hits.
Alright. And
In the face.
6. Yes, I would like to smite.
Smite it up.
Alright, so am I rolling 4 of these?
You're rolling 2 of those for your javelin, and then you can do your smite.
6. 1. So,
that's-
7 plus 8.
7 plus 4.
But I rolled it twice.
You apply the strength damage once.
So now you're doing smite stuff. No, the smite gets doubled too. I don't know where your smite stuff is.
piercing and 14 radiant.
Okay. 25 damage total. So this, like, Zeus lightning bolt javelin, basically. Nula flings it, and it just flares with radiant, crackling energy as it streaks across the intervening distance from the deck of your barge onto this log, and sticks itself right into the hip of this bandit leader, who kind of gives out a and grabs onto it, pulling it out and throwing it into the river behind him. Which brings us actually to him, so it is his turn. At which point he is going to jump from the log onto the front of the vessel next to Walter there. Yeah, right there. And Walter, he's going to make 2 attacks against you.
Makes sense to me.
He sees you casting spells on his compatriots, and he can't quite get to Nula, who just threw a lightning bolt javelin at him. That is going to be a 21 to hit,
Just missed. Okay, that hurt.
and the other is a 16 to hit.
14 is the mark.
Okay, so both of those will hit. So you are going to take from his scimitar 13 points of slashing damage. Is your blindness deafness a concentration spell?
It is not.
Okay.
It,
They just repeat the
it
save on their
lasts,
turn.
Choose one creature you can see. It's 2 at higher levels. Fails, targets either blinded or yeah. They can remake the DC 14 con save
Okay.
at
the end of its turn.
turn.
Alrighty. So Alar, that brings us up to you.
The guy that just tried to slice and dice Walter gets to make a DC 13 Wisdom save.
He fails.
He starts laughing uproariously when I go,
You make a face at him, and looks puzzled at you for a second, and kind of turns back to his attention back to the person he's fighting, but the magic sort of takes hold of him as he turns back. Walter, something about the shape of the cut that he just made in you with his scimitar is hilarious to him as he starts
Is
he falls
he falls prone. Alrighty, so Bandit falls down. That is Alar. Anything else for your turn, Alar?
Going to back up a little bit to make it somewhat easier for Nula to get up close and personal.
Alrighty. That brings us to Brahm. Brahm, what are you doing?
Okay.
Change the music.
So this guy's blind, right?
That guy's blind.
Okay. So he gets to make a DC 14. I believe it's a Wisdom. Yeah, Wisdom.
He fails.
Okay. So I cast Dissonant Whispers
Okay.
in hopes that since he's blind, he'll have a much harder time moving away from me without falling in the water.
Alrighty, so I see that takes effect immediately, right?
Yeah, and he also takes 3d6 psychic.
Okay, so roll that psychic damage for me. He is going to make a dexterity check at disadvantage to try and span the log back to the
6 psychic
Sure.
damage.
Okay, 6 psychic damage.
Are we the bags?
So go ahead and move him off to the shore there. He actually does make it, surprisingly.
He
He's like, ah!
I can't find the shore.
I guess here.
Yeah, you just put him up there for now. That's fine. As he runs off to the shore.
Well, I had a plan.
So Walter, it is your turn. You have a kind of a bandit captain rolling around on the ground beneath you.
Bandit Captain has taken a face full of shovel with Shillelagh.
Alrighty, roll the hit with advantage since he's prone.
That is a
Definitely hits.
Shillelagh, that's actually plus 6, so it's 22, but that doesn't matter. So Shillelagh. Where did you go, Shillelagh? 28 plus 3. Takes 9 points of magical bludgeoning damage.
Okay. Alrighty. So you just like hit him with the shovel. Does he remake his save when he takes damage there? Hideous
I
laughter.
think it's just over.
At the end of its turns, and each time it takes damage, so yes, and at advantage.
At advantage. Okay. Yep. It does make the save this time, so you just like El Kabong him with your shovel. Oh. Like, damn it! Sort of, you see like he turns and looks like furiously at you with like a shovel groove right above one of his eyes where you clang him with the shovel.
I was trying to help!
That is going to bring us to the bandits. Your Dissonant Whispers, is he able to act or he has to keep...
Believe he can make the check again on his turn.
Alright, so that guy uses his action to scramble back up onto the log. The guy there is going to take a crossbow shot at Walter. And crits. Sorry, Walter.
Well, it was my turn.
Are you at 0?
No.
Oh.
A good thing it wasn't deafened because he automatically succeeds if he's deafened.
Yeah.
You take 16 points of piercing damage from the crossbow bolt.
Now, I am not looking for it.
And what is happening at this point from the foliage on the riverbanks here?
Oh, good.
2 small rowboat skiff vessels are shoved off from within foliage cover where they have been hidden and pushed into the water and begin sailing in your direction. So each vessel, one of the bandits is rowing it, and the other 3 are on the kind of sitting within it. I'll reach across you guys again here. These guys basically make it to the right up to the side of the vessel here. It took this guy's action to operate the rowboat. These guys are kind of on their way. So that guy fired his crossbow. That guy used his action. What was the fate of the guy who you dissonant whispered?
He's fine to do whatever.
Okay, so he'll actually from right where he is, he'll take a crossbow shot at Raph actually, since Raph is the closest to him, next to Walter there.
Even though he's blind.
Oh, is he still blinded?
Yeah, at the end of his turn he can make the save again, but he is still blind.
So that's not affected by him taking damage.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then he doesn't do that. He just makes his save, but he does save on his thing. So he kind of rubs his eyes clear, and you see him looking around. He brings his crossbow up ready for next time. So what these guys on the skiffs do, the ones rowing on each of them use their action to row the vessel. On the one closer, as it bumps up against the side of the vessel there, one of them will take a crossbow shot at Kel. That is going to be an 21 to hit.
Yeah.
So Kel, you will take 8 piercing damage.
You got it.
One of them is going to swing. He's got a hook on a rope, and they're right up next to it. So he basically just hooks this thing over his head, and it buries itself into the wood of the deck of the ship as they like grapple their boat to you. And the fourth and final guy there is going to jump across and scramble up onto the deck right behind Henrietta there. So move.
This guy? Skelly?
Nope. That one.
Again.
The lizard man is the one who fired the crossbow. The zombie lady is the one who threw the hook, and the skeleton is the one rowing the boat. From back here, these two bandits, two of them are going to take crossbow bolts, one each at the two guys in the back there, who are Hollum and Tho. And they both miss. So that back portion does have like the kind of the covering over it. So there's a little bit more cover. These guys fire the crossbows. They can't quite get a clear shot as two bolts like bury themselves into the wood of the ship, and Hollum and Tho kind of duck down. The fourth one there is going to throw his own grapple at the vessel from a little bit further away, and he will hook his grapple right on the back corner, right behind Tho there. That is their turn, and that brings us to the top of the order. Kel.
I'm gonna step up.
Okay.
And look down at the captain, hold out a hand that's just like glowing with flames, and I'm going to try to intimidate him.
All right.
I don't want to hurt you, but my friends definitely do. Call them off.
All right. Roll an intimidation check.
I'm going to use Tides of Chaos.
Okay.
15.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens when it gets to his turn. Nula, you're up. So you see Kel kind of steps in front of you and is threatening this bandit captain.
Can I hold my action till I know if the bandit person is going to call them off, and if he doesn't call them off, then attack?
Sure.
Okay.
Do you want to move at all?
Yes, I will move.
You're not going to be able to get up to him because there's too many people blocking your way there. But you can get a little closer.
Out of curiosity, what is this held together?
It's all lashed together by like ropes and chains and things.
Okay. I'll go up as fast or as far as I can.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. So it actually is his turn. So he he kind of like is sort of laying on the deck still as he sees you like put this threatening magic hand into like right into his face. He kind of looks at you and he quickly looks around right about as he's like you kind of hear the thunk thunk of these grapples being attached to the back of the ship, and he's actually going to kind of looks at you and he goes and rolls off the deck of the ship into the water. He will invoke attacks of opportunity from Walter, Kel, and Raph.
I don't have a melee.
Okay.
I do have a spell from Forecast Feet, because that's nonsense.
I mean,
So-
you can try and kick him for 1 point of damage.
If you wanted to, you
Do you
can
have
kick him
negative strength modifier? Because you can kick him for 0 damage.
I do have a negative strength modifier.
Yeah, so he's gonna take a DC 14 save.
Con save.
He does make it.
Okay, then nothing happens.
All right. So you kind of like launch a spell at him as he barrel rolls off the side of the deck. Your spell smashes into the wood planks of Brunhildr's deck, and there is a as he hits the water, and you see him kind of disappear beneath the surface. But that is his whole turn.
Does that allow me to now evoke my turn since I held it?
You can. Yeah, I mean you can do something. You can't see him though.
Can I jump up onto the logs?
Yeah, you can make a athletics check.
Okay. Ooh. 19 plus
Plus things.
26.
Easy enough. You basically kind of weave around, and you just land onto the logs. As you hit them, they kind of like bob a little bit. You kind of have to take a second to steady your footing.
It's fine,
Terrible.
But they're like basically felled trees that they have dragged into the water here. So they're definitely large and dense enough to support your weight, even if your footing's a little unsteady.
Can I do anything else with my action, or was that it?
Technically, your held action was to attack him
Okay.
if he moved.
Okay.
So I'll give you the move, but that's
Okay,
that's all.
fair.
That brings us to Alar.
10, 15, pardon me, Henrietta.
Moving up on the person who jumped up onto the boat.
Yeah, all the hit.
Casting Booming Blade. And that is a 23, so I'm going to do gun. And because are Hallam or Tho armed?
They do all carry short swords
Okay.
with them.
So-
they're not wielding. They do have some. You know that there are some crossbows
Okay.
stowed on within the ship. They're not carrying them right now.
As far as, is that person engaged or not?
Oh yeah, he's engaged. Tho is not like menacing him with his sword yet. He's still got that quant pole,
Okay.
but he's kind of got it in one hand as he's like, this guy has jumped on and they're sort of scuffling.
That was a 1. Okay, so 6, 8, 11 points of piercing damage, 3 points of thunder damage, and if he moves, very bad things will happen to him.
Doesn't matter, because you actually just stick your rapier like right into his throat, and he just topples backwards. And there's first like a solid as he hits the side of the boat that he jumped off of, but then like flops bonelessly into the water and disappears dead.
I'd like to attempt an intimidation check on the 3 there, since I just killed one of
Sure.
their own with 1 move. And that's a natural 20.
Alrighty.
Next.
Okay. Alrighty. Rom, you are up.
I'm gonna cast Phantasmal Force on the guy who was blind.
Okay. He's not having a good day.
This guy's getting towards it.
What kind of save is that? A
I
wisdom
believe
save?
It's also a wisdom.
He gets a 13.
Ooh, just fails.
Just fails. All right. So what are you making appear before his eyes?
I am going to conjure up just the most disgusting river, like slug monster ever coming out of the water
Alright.
at him.
So, nothing visible happens to you guys except you just see this individual who had been pointing the crossbow like in the direction of the boat. All of a sudden, his gaze shifts somewhere to like the middle distance, kind of like between him and where the logs are, and he like takes several steps back with this cry of like ah, what? And turns the crossbow, just sort of like pointing it at nothing, something that only he can see. And that brings us to Walter.
We're gonna. Is this the guy that shot me, or is this the guy that shot me?
That's the guy that shot
That
you.
guy's getting to a blast in the face.
Alrighty, roll the hit.
One quick question.
Yes.
He can take damage from the illusion, but
Yes.
is it on the following turns after I cast it, or can he?
Let me
Take it
read that
on.
while he's doing his rolls.
It's a 13 and that.
Because it's on each round or on your turn.
The 13 will hit, the nat 1 will not.
5 force.
Alrighty.
Then I'm going to retreat back.
Okay. Alrighty, so that guy takes an Eldritch Blast, just kind of rolls his shoulder a little bit with it. You craft an illusion that takes root in the mind of a creature you can see within range. Makes an intelligence save. Okay.
I don't know if it doesn't say that it requires it being my action either. So I don't know if it means I can do it all the following turns or on that turn as well.
Oh, man.
I would say. It takes your action to summon it right now. So on subsequent turns, as long as he still perceives that real, you can cause it to attack him.
But is that my action?
No,
Okay, so-
it does not. It does not indicate that it takes your action to use that. Okay. So it is their turn. All right. Let's see. He's phantasmed. The three bandits on the logs there. Oh, that's two bandits in Nula.
Yes.
So the two of them are going to turn and take crossbow shots at Nula. She's like mounted the log here. That is a 20
Oh, yeah.
and a 9. So
9
one of
will
them,
not.
one of them will hit you for 2 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
You kind of just mostly the bolt kind of like skips off your armor, but it does like cut you a little bit as it goes past. The other one, you hear like thunks into the log behind you. The individual up on the bank there fires his crossbow like while shouting, ah! Shoots his crossbow and it just like sails through the air and splishes into the water.
Does it hit that guy?
No, he's shooting. So he's shooting like as if there were like a slug crawling up out of the water onto the shore. So he basically fires into it and he just shoots into the river. These guys back here in the further boat. So the guy who grappled is going to use his action to reel their boat right up to the back of your guys' boat. If somebody wants to shove that forward there for me.
Yep, we can.
Yeah. So at this point, one of them can jump up onto like the other side of
Right here.
column there. Yeah, since that's really the only available space. The other two will take crossbow shots at Tho and Dua from the vessel because there's not really enough room for them to climb up at this point. One of them does hit. So Tho there will take a hit from a crossbow bolt, which deals 6 piercing damage. Tho Dua. The one aimed for Hollum misses. So that crossbow bolt basically like buries itself in like kind of the meat below the shoulder blade, and he lurches forward, kind of like God, and sort of like starts to scramble towards Henrietta to kind of get out of the line of fire.
Poor Henrietta.
Henrietta's mostly calm at this point, as she hasn't seen the worst of what's going on back here, and she is slightly suspended off the deck. So that's that vessel. So these guys, as you kind of like quickly dispatch the first of their compatriots there, they kind of like they're affected by your kind of intimidation, but it has almost the opposite effect where they seem furious, but it does cause them, rather than like leap onto the ship, they just like whip up their crossbows and take probably more hastily than they should have shots at you to try and shoot you. So an 18,
It's
a 10, and an 8.
okay.
So 2 of them just shoot wild. They don't spend the time to really line up their shot. One of them still does manage to just set off a wild crossbow shot, which strikes you, dealing 9 points of piercing damage.
I kind of roll with it using Uncanny Dodge.
Alrighty.
I go, alright. All 3 of you are going to die.
Alrighty. Anybody who is currently facing this direction,
Okay.
which may just be
So it looks like just Alar.
Alar and Nula as well, make a perception check.
Nat 20.
Alright,
21.
For 22.
22. Okay. It actually does matter. Let me check something here. Hang on.
And FYI, I don't know if that matters.
It's okay.
Uh-oh.
I know who it is.
Okay.
They work here. It's fine. So let me get that. So yours was a what? A 22?
22. 22.
Alright. Actually, neither of you see anything. So,
You
never
don't
mind.
See
Is
anything?
there a bandit submersible? Oh, God.
I've been had.
Oh my god, a U-boat!
Which brings us to the top of the order. Kel.
Oh, is this for like Robin Hood with the reed?
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't see the periscope go.
Alright, we're gonna turn this way,
Alrighty.
and we are going to cast a quickened scorching ray at 3rd level,
Alrighty.
trying to hit each of these 2 once.
Cool.
Or
Roll the hit.
twice.
Sink their
Alright.
boat.
Roll the hit.
Sink their boat with fire.
Battleship.
That is 21. And a natural 1 for this one. So
Okay, so one will hit.
And then a 22 and an 8 against that one.
2 and an 8. The 8 will not hit, so you get 1 hit on each of them.
Alright, so that's 8 points of fire damage for that one.
Okay.
And 7 points of fire damage for the other one. And then we're going to cast Fireball with my normal action.
Alrighty.
On
So it was 8
8
and then 7.
7.
Okay.
Then we're going to Firebolt the one who took 8.
Alrighty, roll the hit.
That is also an 8 to hit.
So that will miss. So you kind of just start. Kel sort of steps up to the side of the deck, and like the pyrotechnics begin as fire starts lancing out at these bandits. They each as the first 2 bolts come in, it kind of catches them off guard, strikes them. They all cry out in surprise, and all 3 of them hunker down. All right, well, roll your wild magic.
Nope.
Okay, no wild magic. So the 3 of these guys kind of get low over the lip of their boat here. Alrighty, Nula, you are up.
Alright. I would like to take my hammer
Alright,
and smash it against the chains.
joint between these 2 logs. Okay,
Yep.
roll to hit.
21.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to miss the logs you're standing on.
Does a wall have or does she have an advantage because the wall's
5.
prone?
5 points?
Yep.
Alrighty. So, you bring your hammer down. A couple of the links of the chain snap. You see some of the pieces of chain kind of fall away. There is still more chain and some rope lashing these together, but you have definitely
I have 2
begun that.
attacks.
All
Can I
right.
do my second attack?
Yes, you can. Before you make that second attack, make a dexterity saving throw for me. As bandits are going to do so as well. Well, no, that bandit's going to do so.
10.
10. Okay, so you are okay. As you bring your hammer down, smash this, you break one of the chains, but the logs beneath your feet that you hit are and they kind of rock. You take a second, you sort of, your hammer goes out to counterweight yourself, and you manage to stay on your feet. Meanwhile, you hear from just ahead of you, you hear oh! And then as that guy falls off the log into the water.
Nice. Alright, the first
Now
one
you can take your second attack if
was
you'd like to.
6 plus 13 to hit.
13 to hit the log will hit the log.
12.
12 damage. Okay. So once again, you bring your hammer down. Make another dexterity saving throw.
8.
Okay, so you actually do. You hit the log. The log, like a piece of it, cracks, and as the wood sort of bends up against the force of your hammer, it does lash through the ropes, and these two pieces of log actually come disconnected from one another. However, you lose your footing in the resulting, and you go into the drink, and your armor immediately begins hauling you down like a stone towards the bottom of the river.
Yay!
Whoops. Okay, so
Mistakes were made.
So you guys all kind of hear this double like crack of Nula hitting the two logs with her
Oh,
hammer, and then splash, and she goes beneath the surface. Alrighty, so that is
Can't
Nula's
wait to
turn.
meet our new companion, Rula.
Alrighty. Brahm, what is your AC?
13.
As you're kind of
long.
no, as you're standing on the kind of the deck, you look as you hear Nula like go into the water, and a moment later you feel a hand grips your leg, and you turn just in time to see the bandit captain come up over the side of the ship, and he's like, and he pulls you into the water.
So they're swimming over here.
Yep, he pulls you down.
So my plan to dive in and save Nula quickly.
So you are now grappled by the bandit captain and in the water.
Okay. I assume any spell that requires speaking does not work
A
underwater.
vocal component spell will not work as you're being dragged under the water.
Alright, I'm gonna.
It is Alar's turn right now.
Oh, okay, I thought it was.
You're up next after Alar.
Alright.
So Alar, you see Nula fall in. A second later, you see just like the top portion of that bandit captain comes up, grabs Brahm's leg, and just hauls him over the side of the vessel.
I'm going to try and slice the mooring line.
Okay, roll the hit.
20.
Definitely
Slice
hits.
that.
You don't even need to roll damage. You just cut through it.
I'm hoping I can also get a quick kick to push it back.
Kind of dislodge the vessel a little bit, and it sort of like bobs like a foot or so off the edge of the ship here.
Move up to this guy.
So that's all I can do.
This guy's dead, so we're just gonna get him.
Yeah, you can get him out of there.
Yeah, he's floating.
So you guys are swimming, so like.
All right, Brahm, it is now your turn. So you are currently grappled, which means you are restrained. So your speed is 0. Attack rolls against you will have advantage. Your attack rolls have disadvantage. You have disadvantage on dexterity saves. You're also being like pulled and wrestled underwater.
Okay.
So vocal component spells will not
Can
function.
I reach a dagger on my belt? Not the
Not the fake dagger.
one. And stab it into
Yes, you can make an attack roll
with disadvantage.
with disadvantage. Oh, I'm sorry. You have no. I read the wrong. I'm an idiot. Your speed is 0, and you don't benefit from the speed thing. But you're don't ignore the disadvantage.
Oh, I'm gonna,
It's a
then
straight
I'm
roll.
to take the crit that I just rolled.
Well, you can tell. You can take the crit.
I was gonna say, like-
take the crit for my mistake.
So that's a 25 to stab him in his face. Or well, stab him like this.
All right, roll.
Bam.
Roll the hit, or roll damage rather.
So,
Oops.
what? Yeah,
It's 1d4 for the dagger plus your strength modifier.
Or dex.
So
Or
that's
dex.
gonna be a 3.
Okay.
But I'm gonna do some psychic blades.
Well, it's also crit, so
Yeah,
it's
it's also crit.
6 plus whatever your dex is.
Give us a +2.
Okay, so 8 damage from the dagger.
Yes.
And then how much psychic damage?
15 psychic damage.
Alrighty.
I guess that's double too, right?
Uh,
Because it's the same attack. one attack.
I know that's how it works for like sneak attacks and smites. I don't know if that's true for psychic blades or not.
I'll have to look
it
it
is
up.
a reaction
I
to
will-
the attack.
I will have to look it up, but I will, for now,
Does
give
it-
you the extra damage.
Does it use your reaction?
It uses his bardic inspiration. So
Yeah.
technically, it burns his
Stand
bonus
into it,
action.
and then it goes off from the blade.
Okay, so I'll give you the extra damage for that. All right, so you plant this dagger. As you're like thrashing around, you don't get it quite like up into his throat like you had been hoping, but you do plant it like into his clavicle at a real nasty upward angle. You see like it goes in and the tip comes back out like above the clavicle bone. As in, kind of beneath the water, you just hear sort of the muffled like.
And then he explodes.
There's blood in the water. Watch out.
He's not dead after all that.
He's not dead.
Can I, is it a bonus action to like
You've
push
already-
away from him
You've
now?
already used the bonus action. You actually have to take your action to try and break his grapple.
But it, well,
He's still holding on to you.
Getting stabbed in the clavicle.
All right, Walter, you are up.
Alright, who's on the boat?
There is one bandit currently on the back of the boat.
It is.
That guy.
It's that guy,
Well,
yes.
Dwarf sword guy. Really didn't want to use this, but
Don't hit him.
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna cloak my hands in shadow and cast Vampiric Touch.
Alrighty.
So that's a roll to hit, and it's a concentration spell. 18 to hit.
18 will definitely hit.
Alright, 3d6, I heal half.
Alrighty.
He takes 10 points of necrotic damage, and I heal 5. It is a
Alrighty.
concentration spell.
You basically come up, your hands like swirling in this necrotic energy. You just plant them both into his chest, and you watch. You guys around him can kind of see as the man kind of like reels back, but Walter kind of lunges forward, keeping contact with him. The man's face like sinks and becomes sallow. His skin kind of goes waxy. He instantly develops dark rings around his eyes. Walter looks a little better. Some of his wounds closed.
I definitely look unhappy that I'm doing this. Like it is not like in my nature necessarily to like steal.
I'm
someone else's
underwater.
So Walter,
It's
he's still alive, but he looks like he's
those
been
dwarves.
mummified alive almost. He's basically like he's like clutching your hands on his chest, and like you can feel he's basically using you to hold himself up at this point. All right, and it is their turn. So this guy is going to take another shot at the invisible. Is Phantasmal Force a concentration spell? Is a question. Yes, it is.
Oh, well, he would have. He also.
You actually haven't taken damage, so you can maintain that.
Yeah, he also should have been able to take damage on my turn as well.
Oh yeah, you can go ahead and roll damage for him. 5 points of damage to that guy.
It's either every round or on my turn. So.
Alrighty. So this guy fires a crossbow bolt again into the water, and then he like anyone who's looking in that direction, you guys kind of hear him like let out this horrible scream. The crossbow falls from his hands, and he like goes down to the ground like clutching at his front, twitches a couple of times, and then just is still. So he's dead. Alrighty. So these three, as they're sort of like starting to float away from the thing here, this guy. Actually, the three of them are just going to fire their crossbows. The one that Walter
Broken
unmoored.
open.
They've disconnected, but they're pretty heavy, and like the logs are fairly well lashed together.
Which way is the river flowing?
That way. You guys figure, like, if you were really desperate and you weren't already basically moored up against the logs, you can think maybe if you were to, like, back up and, like, try and get some speed and ram this, you might be able to push through at this point hopefully without damaging your ship. But otherwise, they're sort of like, they're kind of floating a little bit. The current of the river sort of flowing past is a little bit, just the way the logs are interlocked is kind of keeping them from like totally opening up. So these three. All right. So who do we see here? So Alar is going to take 2 shots, and Hollum is going to take a shot. So Alar against you, that is 2 20s.
Both hit.
Okay.
I will uncanny dodge
Okay,
that
that's
one.
one. All right. And Hollum also takes a hit. So the one you uncanny dodge would be 3, so you take 1.
Yay.
And the other one is also 3, so you take a total of 4 damage. Hollum takes 8 damage.
Oh boy.
And now both he and Tho are like crossbows bolts sticking out of them, sort of beginning to now like scramble for cover, trying to get below decks. Not looking in good shape. Alrighty, so Walter and Alar and Kel. Perception checks.
12.
Okay.
19.
Okay.
I am blind.
Okay.
It's a 2 plus 0 probably.
Somebody said 19. They had 19.
Yep.
Okay. So, and yours was 12.
Yeah.
All right. So you don't really notice anything. You're kind of focused on these guys. Kel, as you're looking back, sort of towards the fight happening here, you see the surface of the water right behind this second little pontoon of these bandits. See the surface of the water for a moment kind of like bows ever slightly upward as something moves past the kind of back corner of their boat, just very slightly sort of like jostling a little bit. They don't really seem to notice as they're like moving about, trying to board the vessel, going about their business. But you just catch something beneath the surface of the water. And to round out the bandits' turn, these other 3 here will take crossbow shots at Walter. Will take 2 as they just watched you mummy drain their buddy. And Tho will take 1. So Walter, that is a crit and a 22. I assume both of those will hit you.
Yeah.
The one against Tho does miss. That's only a 5. So Walter, you are going to take. Oh, it's over here. 13 points of piercing damage.
Total
Total.
for both.
For both.
Okay, I have advantage on maintaining spell concentration.
Okay,
but
yeah, go ahead and roll your
so,
concentration check.
Okay, that's sorry. Concentration is I just have to roll DC.
It's 10 or the damage of the spell plus 5, I think, whichever is.
Half the
It's
damage.
going to be a.
Half the damage plus
Yeah.
something.
Half
It's
the
going to be a
damage
10
plus
either
5.
way. Neither of them roll particularly high damage.
Okay. So I rolled 14 for the one and a 14 for that.
Okay, so 2 saves.
And I took 13 damage.
So 13 damage. You are going to take a final attack against you from the guy that you're mummy draining, as he kind of desperately swings at you with a scimitar. That's only in. It's only an 11 though, so I don't think it's against you.
Nope, misses.
So he kind of weakly like tries to stab you in the ribs with this blade, but he just like kind of slides sideways, making a little bit of a rip in your cloak, but that's about it. Oops.
Wife made this.
Alrighty, so at this point, I need... Nula, I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
12.
Alright, so. Nula, beneath the water, as you are like sinking like a stone quickly towards the bottom, you see a shape approach you. The kind of murky water and the light above creating this basically like silhouette kind of approaching you from above. You can't really see it clearly. What you do think you can see is the form of a female humanoid.
Oh, okay. That's not what I thought it was.
It is a, you kind of can see like the outline of a head with like sort of this halo of like long splayed out hair, kind of arms moving gracefully through the water, and sort of the upper torso of a sort of this lithe female form as it moves towards you, and you begin to, through the vibrations of the water, you begin to hear this sort of calming chant. The conscious part of your brain can't necessarily make out specific words, but just something deep within you just tells you that this person is telling you they're coming to help you. They're coming to save you. Hold on. I will come to you. I will rescue you. You want nothing more than to just have this rescuer, this mysterious rescuer, take you into her arms, carry you away to safety.
Bye.
Sorry, kind of busy.
Those of you on the surface, Kel, after you had heard this sort of, or seen that sort of like lump in the water, you guys start to sort of hear weird, echoey kind of, almost like singing that seems to be like coming up from beneath the water. One of the bandits on the pontoon, he kind of like looks, he seems a little confused for a moment, a little dazed. But that's all that happens right now.
Knife to the face.
Yeah.
Kel, it is your turn.
Power fireball center on the boat.
Just sink everything. Just start over.
Call it a day. We're rolling new characters, everyone.
We're gonna go this way. And we're gonna empower Scorching Ray over here. That log.
All right, towards the log. Roll to hit.
Yep. That is a 9.
Unfortunately, does not hit.
A 17
A 17 will hit.
and a 6.
So the two, as you kind of like are firing off these scorching rays, the logs are very wet as they've been submerged. The ropes, the chains, it's all very wet. And kind of you see the firelight kind of strike, but puffs of sort of steam go off as you begin to dry these out a little bit. But only one of them you really hit solidly enough to connect.
That is 10 fire damage.
Alrighty. So the 10 fire damage that you do at that kind of connection, the ropes that are lashed together holding that, you kind of hear them like sizzle and then snap as they break away. There is a kind of a piece of chain still wrapped around it, just holding them together, but as the ropes break, they kind of begin to float a little more loosely. This entire center log sort of becoming unmoored and starting to shift in the water. Anything else with your turn?
Nope.
Okay. So that brings us to Nula. So Nula, you are under the water. Currently, you are holding your breath. You can hold your breath. You're fine right now. You can hold your breath for like what's your Constitution modifier?
14.
So
The modifier, so +2.
Plus two.
So you can theoretically hold your breath for 3 minutes before you risk drowning.
Oh, okay.
So you're okay for right now. However, you are pulled about 30 feet, and you come to settle on the bottom of the river. You're unable, with the weight of your armor, to move. However, as you see this form above you, beckoning you, I will protect you, I will save you. You know that you have to get to it.
Okay.
So you, just for the sake of mechanics here, the only action that you can use on your turn is one that will lead you towards the goal of getting closer to whatever this is.
I can't use ensnaring strike to like have the vines push me towards this.
No.
Alright. Could I take my javelin and like stab it and pull myself?
Trying to like push yourself up.
Yep.
Sure, make a strength check.
Ew. 11.
Okay. So you kind of get yourself to like a standing position, and you push, and you get like a little bit off the floor of the river, but the javelin like is sinking into the soft, saturated mud of the bottom of the river, so you don't really like get anywhere. Anything else?
Can I unhook part of my armor?
You could, but that would be to begin to like
Undo it.
to don or doff your armor is takes a minute, I believe. You could. You've already used your action, so you're not gonna be able to do this now. But you could begin to cut yourself out of your armor
Okay.
if you wanted to. But for this, you've already used your action to stand up.
Okay.
So at the end of your turn, go ahead and make another Wisdom saving throw.
14.
Okay, so now still this thing is just above you. This angelic female form, the most beautiful creature you've ever seen. Just you want nothing more than to get up and have this thing take you into her arms and carry you to safety. So that is Nula's turn. So Brahm, beneath the water, you're going to take 2 attacks. You're going to take 3 attacks. So a 9. So misses. Okay. 16 hits. And a higher than a 16. So you will take 2 hits. As this bandit who's like grappled up with you begins basically trying to stab you right back with his own dagger. So you'll take 2 hits there. You will take 12 piercing damage as he basically just starts trying to plant this dagger into your ribs. Can't really get great purchase as you guys are kind of scrabbling with each other, and the dagger in his own clavicle has like immobilized a good portion of one of his arms, but he does manage to cut some pretty nasty slashes into your side. That's going to be his turn. Alar, you are up.
Let me see. Which one of these had had the paddle?
The one in the back.
You didn't hit one of them.
He's got
Did not hit the one.
oars essentially, which
No.
he is not operating right now. They are
Okay.
they are tethered to the vessel. The oars are like on the sides of the boat in those like little locking, whatever you would call them.
Okay.
And he's currently like seated with a crossbow pointed at the ship.
The orc with a mace. DC 13 wisdom save.
He does make it, unfortunately.
Nothing happens.
Alright. He's actually like he's the one who's sort of like looking over the water. So you kind of like cast this spell at him. He doesn't even seem to notice.
Can't do anything about the hook because I chose to cast a spell. Okay, that's it.
Alrighty. So Bron, you're up. You're currently being stabbed and grappled underwater by
Here's
this
the
bandit.
question. Does heat metal work underwater?
Try and find out.
You would think that it would because it's magic. So I'm going to attempt to heat the...
What are the components of heat metal?
It just... I have to be able to see it, please.
Is it somatic?
No, I don't have to say anything.
Somatic is movements.
Oh, I don't think I have to do anything. I think I just go, that metal is heated. What the hell is it?
That was hot.
It just says, yeah, choose a manufactured
The
metal.
components are verbal, somatic, and material.
Oh,
So you cannot use heat metal underwater.
okay. Alright. I'm gonna, because the dagger's still in him.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to grab hold of that dagger with one hand, and like with my other hand on it, like, in his face and his eyeball, push away from him. Down.
All right, so make a
So
strength
one
check.
hand in the dagger, one hand in the eyeball.
Make a strength check.
It's gonna be a 17.
All right. So you plant one hand between you, get it kind of on his chest. You grip the handle of the dagger with the other, and just shove. And you kind of hear the muffled like.
One was in
as
the
you-
eye. It was the thumb in the eye.
One in the eye, one in the dagger.
Yeah.
You don't know what hurt him worse, the eye or the dagger, but he gives out like a bunch of bubbles kind of spew up, and you shove him backwards off of you, breaking you free of his grapple.
Does that count for psychic blades? Because I didn't touch the weapon.
No.
Okay. Then I'll use my remaining movement to break the surface.
Great Scambino. I don't know how long ago this was. The Great Scambino tried to enter the raffle, but put the exclamation point on the wrong end of the word.
Birthday! Just very excited about it.
Birthday, birthday, birthday!
Although actually, Espion may have done it wrong as well, because the
She just typed birthday.
Espion just typed exclamation birthday. I don't know. It didn't give us the message that like put people into the drawing.
I thought it was just birthday.
It's supposed to just be birthday. Put me in. I don't know why it didn't put. Well, Espion did the exclamation. I don't know why it didn't put Scambino in there.
I guess just. if
Maybe
you
it
say
has to
this-
be birthday and nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So,
seems likely.
Espion and Scambino, I saw that you guys tried to join the raffle there. Go ahead. It doesn't look like it put you in, so go ahead and you try that again. Just type the word birthday and nothing else in your comment, and see if we can get you in there. So hopefully while they're doing that, meanwhile, Brom, so you used your action to break your grapple. There, anything you want to do?
I'm going to
Use
use
your
movement to
use
break
your
the
movement to
surface.
like you get back up and you grab the side of the boat, so you're up on top of the surface now. All right, Walter, you're up. So you have this rough-looking dude is right in your face there.
I'm going to repeat the effect. 17 plus 6 to hit. So,
Yes.
23. I just gotta say I'm sorry, and then just kind of like, probably as he dies, just like gently try to place him in the water.
Here's a question. It's just the damage done, right? Because if he runs out of health,
It's half the damage.
okay.
That's gonna be 12 points, so I heal
Alright.
for 6. And
So you heal for 6, and he you see the light just goes out of his eyes.
I'm gonna try to like gently like drop him into the water. just like apologize.
With as
for your
much
forward.
dignity as you can, you kind of release his corpse into the water.
If I had a spare action, I'd kick him.
Alrighty.
Then
So
I'm going to move over here, way behind Henrietta, because I am hurting.
Alrighty. So, Tho and Hallam are going to run like around Henrietta to the hatch and drop below deck.
These guys are.
Yeah,
below
just
deck.
take them off the deck.
Uh,
They're real concerned that they're about to die to bandits. And then the bandits. That one over there uses his action to climb back up on the log. No, the one he fell off the
no,
log.
he's dead.
He's dead.
Oh, that makes sense.
That guy, yes. He
He's
climbs
in
back
charge.
on the log.
Oh, good.
So the two of them are now going to take shots at Kel. One will definitely miss. The other is a 20 to hit.
Yeah.
So that will be 3 points of piercing damage from the crossbow, from the one on the, or my right anyway. The 3 on the vessel here, one will use his action to operate the boat to keep it close up. The other 2 are going to attempt to leap onto the ship. They do both make it, so you can move the 2 of them up onto the ship there.
Zombie girl and lizard, or
Yep, zombie girl and lizard.
Okay, I may be in a little trouble.
And they will both take attacks against Alar. One will hit, one will miss.
Okay.
So Alar, you're going to take...
Did I use... No. Different round, so...
you're going to take 2 points of piercing damage. Or 2 points of slashing damage, rather. And then one of these guys on the other boat, the little wolf man there, he is going to jump onto the vessel as well. So somebody move Wolfman, yeah. The guy with the mace over his head there, he's still staring into the surface of the water as you guys are watching. The lizard guy will fire off a crossbow bolt in Alar's direction and miss.
Okay.
I think that's all of the remaining bandits. Yes. So, what happens now? Alar, Walter, you guys see where this guy is looking over the edge of his boat, a figure appears. Breaking the surface of the water is a human, maybe half elf in appearance, female. She has pure alabaster skin, long, splayed out behind her, kind of floating on the surface of the water. Beautiful, lustrous red hair, kind of plastered flat by the moisture. She is kind of making these crooning, simpering noises at this guy, who is basically drops to his knees and is reaching out to her This just look of longing on his face. Within an instant, as he reaches down towards her and she kind of comes up, you see her hair rises up out of the water. The wet clumps of it almost locking into place like writhing swords. And they they basically just into his body, and she uses the grapple of these hair daggers and sort of pulls herself up out of the water high enough to wrap her arms around his back, as she comes out of the water, you see from her navel down is no longer this beautiful, unclothed female form, but is like a rotting, water-soaked corpse with like skeletal, bony appendages kind of coming out the bottom of it. She's just like
Fish-like or human?
human-like, but like a corpse that's been in the river for years. Her face turns like harsh and vicious, and she just as quickly as she comes up, she just hauls him off the side of the boat into the water. So pull him down.
The lizard guy? Or
No, the other guy.
Oh, sorry.
Mr. Barbell. So he's just like in the water.
He's dead, so
Oh,
you can just take him
well,
off.
He's dead. All right.
And she has disappeared somewhere beneath the water with him.
Well, that's not good.
Nula.
Yeah.
Are you tracking how many rounds you've been underwater?
It's
I am, but she's okay now. She's got to go 30 rounds before she's worried about drowning.
I believe in us.
This form sort of approaches you.
Uh-huh.
Smite it. Smite it!
Does smite work underwater?
I don't see why not.
I don't think it's
Does a 20 hit you?
yeah.
Okay. You take... Yeah, you take 19 points of bludgeoning damage.
Take a new character sheet.
Are grappled and pulled towards her. Still, this sort of like singing, chanting voice in your head is like, "I'm saving you. I'm saving you. Come, be with me. Be with me forever."
Damage doesn't give her a new save?
Has reality
Oh.
clicked in yet?
Nope. Kel, it is your turn. So you just watched like a half lady, half corpse creature haul one of these bandits into the water behind you guys.
We gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go!
Kel, little busy!
Third level Scorching Ray. Over here and over here.
Alrighty, roll the hit.
Alright. 9,
Okay, that one will not hit.
13,
That one will not hit.
23,
That one will hit.
14.
That one. So one will hit.
One won't hit.
Where do you want to hit?
One will.
With the one that like connects solidly enough.
Right in the middle.
Over here, I guess.
Alrighty.
10 fire damage.
Alrighty. So that portion of log seems to be connected almost exclusively with rope rather than chain. The one like solid strike you get with a scorching ray just snaps and chars away all of those ropes. The log rattles and then turns over, depositing that guy into the water
But
as it is broken loose from the remainder. Now the entire sort of structure of this blockade begins to come apart. And that brings us to Nula.
We did it. We defeated
Yeah.
the logs.
yeah.
So underwater, you are being saved by the most glorious maiden you have ever seen in your life. Yeah, I mean, basically, at this point, she's like hauling you towards her with these like long strands of flowing hair.
So I'm just like Jack
you're-
on the boat, like let go.
Yes, except in reverse because you're coming up from the depths. You see, like her hands are like reaching longingly out towards you as these like life-saving strands wrap into you, caress you. You somewhere in the back of your mind, you kind of it registers that something hurts a little bit in a few places.
Just
But
scratch.
you just know that she's bringing you, and when you get to her, you'll be safe. So at the end of your turn, I need you to repeat the wisdom saving throw.
15?
As you are being brought up, you're brought up 10 feet, or you're brought up 5 feet off of the river floor. You're still about 5 feet away from salvation, this sea angel, and all of a sudden, you're no longer being hauled into safety by just a maiden of unmatched beauty. You are being dragged in by a monster, just a banshee, rotten corpse. Her jaw is like distended and partially unhinged. Bits of like moldering, rotting flesh kind of float off of her in the currents, and the sort of the siren song that she is singing to you has become this like, and she just drags you in. You can feel there's several places where you've just been like impaled by this like knife hair that she has. She's hauling you towards you to your inevitable death.
Okay.
Hauling her upwards?
Hauling her upwards.
Okay.
So right now you are about 5 feet off of the river floor.
Mhm.
She's about another 5 feet above you,
Uh-huh.
and then you are still about 20 feet underwater.
Oh, PG.
So the creature is 10 feet underwater.
No,
Creature's 20 feet.
20 feet.
Oh, the creature. I
They're 10
thought
feet
she
from
was.
the bottom.
Creature's 10 feet from the bottom, 20 feet from the surface. She's hauling
I thought
you
you were saying
towards her.
Nulu was 20 feet.
Nulu's about 25 from the
Yeah.
bottom right now. Or from the surface, rather. Alright, so that is your turn. So the bandit captain is going to... Brahm, you see him, like, come up next to you, grabs onto the side of the boat. He has that, like, that dagger still stuck in him. And he is going to... he's actually going to use his action to pull himself onto the ship. So he'll climb out of the water.
Is he prone or is he standing?
He'll be standing, but it takes his full action to get up there. He kind of like is quickly looking around, surveying the situation. Alar, it is your turn.
Alright. Three on me. That one's hurt, so I'm going to attack Wolfman there.
All right, roll a hit.
And casting Booming Blade.
20, definitely hit.
It's not a sneak attack. I wish it was. 5 points piercing damage, 6 points thunder damage, and as I strike the dagger in, don't move.
Your warning of don't move falls on the ears of the dead man as the dagger, the rapier goes clean into his torso, and he just like slides off of it, and similar to his compatriot before, tumbles over the edge of the vessel. He actually lands into the pontoon there, just
Okay.
Yeah.
I turned back to those two. I warned you.
Just this guy.
yeah, he's dead in the pontoon. And as you're saying that, from the side of the boat here, Rorston there, right, who's next to Henrietta, who also saw this dude get hauled in, just like shouts out as just kind of a general like cry of alarm. You hear him just go, Rusalka! And essentially bandits and riverboat crew alike are like begin just looking at the water around you guys. Alright. Anything else with your turn?
Hoping to intimidate those two to back the hell off by going, I warned you, after killing two quite easily.
Brahm, it is your turn. You are hanging onto the side of the boat.
Okay. With using the flow of the river to my advantage, how close can I get, in dashing I guess, can I get to the creature on Nulu?
I make an intelligence check. see if you even like. I mean, you.
Well, at the very
All of
least,
this
I
is
know
happening
Nula's
30
under
feet.
there, like, drowning. So I'm gonna head there anyway.
Yes. All right, that's fine. You can
I
start heading
fell
towards
under
her.
it before he did.
So your swim speed is going to be half of your movement speed, I believe.
But the river is flowing in the direction.
Yeah, but you're like kind of diving, or you can dash action and move a full 30.
Yeah.
That should be if you straight run.
I assume getting up onto the boat is an action.
Getting up on the boat would be an action.
What if I let the river float me over there and then I dive down? Is that breaking the system?
Sorry, what's up?
If I let the river like float me over there before I die.
The river's not moving particularly fast.
So yeah, I'll just get as close as I can.
Alright, so you're going to move a full 30 feet. Okay. You are able to get kind of down on the level, and about 15 feet away
does
still.
Does it count movement speed if I like along the side of the boat?
Yes.
but still in the water?
Yes.
But like, okay, so but I want to get.
You're moving 30
Yeah.
feet basically on a diagonal like this towards them, right? Or towards where you know she is. So you can get to about there, like one square back from that.
Technically, so under the boat.
So you're technically under the boat, down about 20 feet-ish. So you're like kind of on the level of and you now see like this thing like hauling Nula up towards her. Kind of at a level-ish with you, about 15 feet further forward. Go ahead and put this right where Nula is. Alrighty. So Walter, you are up.
Alright, so after hearing him yell and freak out, I am going to... So after watching all that nightmare, I'm going to... turn to him. I'm going to say, call off your men, we'll call a temporary truce to get away from these things. Or we'll
Okay.
all die.
Make a persuasion roll.
Persuasion is plus 16.
So kind of as you say this, he sort of looks in your direction. You do hear, you see that he like has heard you and comprehended you, but as you're like yelling this and you're kind of looking, it almost looks like as if they are already like, as soon as he called out that there's these creatures, like the bandits are already like, whoa, they're making a break for it. They have like their ranks have broken at this point.
Okay.
So you see him like in the process of turning to, like back towards the barricade there.
I'm gonna hop below decks.
All right.
Just try to like prepare, and then I'll hop below decks and prepare an action to attack anybody that comes down after me with the
All right.
Picker touch.
So Tho and Hollum are both down there, like helping each other with matching crossbow bolt wounds. There you see there's like two bloody crossbows like on the deck on the floor between them, and they're in the process of like applying bandaging and first aid to try and staunch the bleeding of these pretty nasty crossbow shots they took in the back from these bandits. But that brings us to the bandits themselves. So these two, they're gonna jump back. You can take an attack of opportunity if you want, but they basically break rank and jump back on their skiff.
I'll let him go.
Okay, so the two of them jump back onto the skiff and begin like rowing for the shore. So that one will use his movement to move the skiff like back away from you guys. And that one,
It's that one's still lashed to the.
yeah, he actually runs forward. He has to use his action to he cuts the grapple line. But that's all he's able to do this turn. The bandit on the bridge there is going to take one last pot shot at Brahm with his
Brom's
crossbow.
underwater.
I'm under the
Brom's
boat.
way
Oh,
up.
Brom's sorry, Brom's underwater.
Under the boat. It's me.
He'll take no. He's gonna actually. What's his face is closer. Raph is closer. He's gonna take a shot at Raph. He does hit. He deals 9 points of piercing damage. So Kel, you kind of watch as this bandit basically like just takes one parting crossbow shot and then runs off towards the shore there. And the crossbow bolt hits Raph like clean in the throat.
Oh. Not right.
He basically drops, like falls backwards heavily, just like lands on his butt, and is like, Walter!
Yep.
I guess going up to the next turn.
Clear. That guy is going.
Lizard guy?
No. The guy who fell in the water when Kel shot the log. And he's going to use his action to climb up onto the one on the surface there, and that's about where he can get. He's like, "Ugh." You see him scramble out of the water with the speed of a man who knows there be monsters down there. That's all the bandit's gonna do. So,
The logs.
yes. So at this point, that central log there is gonna, starts to kind of turn. Not quite enough to like sail your boat through. That is, they're kind of starting to drift apart. Okay. The Rorston, whose wife the boat is named after, Brunhildr, is kind of in the process of like panicking, watching the bandits go. But he stops. You see him sort of turn in the direction and look over the edge of the boat, and the sort of rock, a little bit of rock of the vessel at the exact right moment tilts slightly up as 4 spears of hair lash up out of the water, coming inches from his person. And he just kind of like stands there, and you see him get this like, as he starts to reach out and almost looks like he's about to just step off the edge of the barge. That brings us to Kel. Oh, sorry, actually, Anula might be. Or restrain. Yes. Okay, so she has advantage. Alrighty.
Fish food.
Nula, down below the water as you are being hauled in by this creature. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Right. 8.
Okay, so even seeing that this monster is hauling you in, even knowing that she is like hooked into you with this supernatural hair,
I'm just stupid.
you can feel the wounds where it's pierced you, but all of a sudden, the pain shifts to like just an unbearable tickling sensation. And you're like, you are now incapacitated in addition to being restrained. But you don't take any more damage.
These monsters horrifying.
Now, it is Kel's turn, up on the deck of the ship. You see the bandits are breaking to run, the logs are coming across. Nula went under a while ago at this point. Hasn't resurfaced.
Just go. I'm fish food. That would be my advice.
Get Walter to help him.
Working on it!
I'm going to run over here. And I am going to cast sleep.
Okay.
You get him to stop.
Alrighty.
Sleeps and then he falls right over into the water.
17 hit points of stuff.
More than enough.
Alright.
All right, let's hang on. Let's see what direction he falls when he falls asleep. He teeters, his eyes grow heavy, and he just slumps backwards, kind of like fucking off of the side of Henrietta, and then slumping down to the deck, blissfully asleep.
Henrietta.
Isn't that an area effect too?
No, he can target specific creatures with it.
No, I can't. It's that many hit points that are close to me, but no one's gonna have that many hit points close to me.
I was pretty sure you were able to like select who you applied it
I
to.
don't think you can. I think it's just like
Maybe I'm
that
wrong.
many hit points of the things that are closest to you.
I think the next thing would be Henrietta anyway.
Yeah.
So,
You just tranquilized a horse. Good job.
well, don't worry about me. I'm immune to
Starting
sleep.
with the creature that is the lowest
we're
current
immune
hit
to horse
points,
tranquilizers.
each creature affected by the spell falls unconscious until the spell ends. So starting with the things that are within range that are at the lowest hit points.
Creatures within 20 points of a point. Yeah, I guess so.
So it basically uses up the hit point pool to
Yeah.
like figure out how much.
I
Starting
always
with the
thought
lowest.
you were able to like.
No, because people can put their friends to sleep accidentally.
I learned something new today.
Wild
No, we use half the
magic,
battle.
I guess.
Wild magic.
Nope.
Okay. Alrighty. So, and you, Tides of Chaos is active right now.
It
right?
is.
Just asking.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else with your turn?
No, that's all I got.
Alrighty. Nula, you are now
Screwed.
restrained and incapacitated.
Have you started thinking about your new character?
So you pretty much can't do anything except try and make the save to get out at the end of your turn.
Swimming. Wisdom, right?
Constitution.
Constitution. 18.
All
or
right.
no, 19.
So the tickling stops and it goes back to being searing pain as you've been impaled. But you are at least kind of in control of your faculties again, as this creature is still hasn't actually managed to haul you. Seems like the weight of your armor is doing you a little bit of a favor right now, as it hasn't managed to haul you any closer to it. And that is Captain's turn. There, he is going to take a 10-foot running jump and try to make it to that log.
The floating
As it's like starting to come loose.
Please fall in the water. Get eaten by one of these.
Get wrecked.
He fails.
Yes.
So he like
was it this one or that one?
that one.
If he
Yeah,
crit
he
fail,
basically
he
like
next to
he
stand.
basically like leaps and he
Belly
gets
flop.
to it, but you guys kind of hear this as he hits it hard like this and kind of scrabbles against the wet log, but it turns over in the water on him and he like goes into
Does
the
he take
water.
damage from the log?
No, he doesn't take damage from the log, but he does go into the drink. Alrighty. Alar, you're up.
Turning back toward the front of the boat, do I see a line that's attached to something but still has, a spool anywhere?
Towards the front of the boat?
Yep.
Any of these?
Like, along anywhere along the boat.
The two like grapples that these guys attached are still hooked in with the lines cut. Right near you. Nothing. They didn't hit you with any grapples towards the front of the boat.
I'm just, on the boat itself. Is there a line that's?
Oh, there's rope if you're trying to get some rope.
Is it
That's like attached to a winch or something.
well attached to something? That will. But that isn't it's not just a coil of rope. It's tied to something.
Make an intelligence check.
16.
Okay. So you look around, you see a couple of options. There's definitely some coils of rope that you could just grab. You see a couple of candidates of things that are like lashed to something, but it takes you a second to you have to be sure that whatever you grab is not going to be, if you're trying to throw it, you want to be sure it's not going to be you don't want to dislodge Henrietta on the, you know what I mean?
No.
So you kind of look around, and you see a coil coil of rope that is still tied off to like part of the deck hatching below that goes below. So you could theoretically
How
use
how long is it?
like
Do
a
I-
25 foot of rope probably.
That'll have to be enough. Walter, help! And
I'm going to use my bonus action to dash toward the front of the boat. My action to grab that one line, and I'm going into the drink.
Alrighty.
Aiming for
Walter dives down.
Alar dice.
Alar dives down. Walter is going to do something else. Alright, anything else your turn?
Guess a perception check to try and spot Nula, and
Sure.
I guess it'll be wrong.
Well, I'm like right there. I'm just below the surface.
12. So you actually are able to spot Nula first,
Okay.
because just a little bit of light filtering down through the river is glinting off of her armor. So you kind of spot her as like a writhing form. Everything else is just kind of like murky shapes at this point around the area. Which brings us to Brom.
Okay.
So there is a skelly mermaid fish monster about 15 feet in front of you.
Okay. So I'm swimming the 15 feet to her,
That takes your full move action, yes.
and with the momentum of my swimming, I'm going to stab into her with my rapier.
Roll the hit. You very slowly paddle towards her and roll damage.
That's right. Rapier uses D8.
World's slowest torpedo.
10 on that.
Alrighty.
Then I'm gonna psychic blades.
Okay.
Does that count as a crit? Yeah, it does. So that's,
Yes.
So that's 20,
20.
and then 8 doubled for another
16.
So another 16. Alright.
So 36.
36 points of damage. Holy moly.
Every time she just like explodes into chunks.
Smile, you son of a.
I can only imagine what Nula's seeing. She's like a horrifying, like undead mermaid creature, and then a half orc. Like,
You see Brom just like comes up, his like legs kicking behind him and
like
just
a
like
torpedo, stabs it, and then
sticks the sword into her.
Can I just be charmed again and quietly drown?
and then there's like the small concussive blast from inside.
Like a depth charge goes off.
Well, it's a good thing I can't cast Booming Blade, or that would be exactly what happens.
Alright, so Walter, you are below deck. You have heard a number of people like, Walter!
Alright, I'm going to pop up. I'm going to see that he's got a thing in the
You
neck.
come up, you immediately see him on the ground like,
Okay, but he's still clearly like
Still
grasping
alive.
alive. So he's going to get a not today as I cast Healing Word on him as a bonus action.
alright.
And then I'm going to go over here and grab the rope that is quickly trailing off of whatever just jumped in there and try to.
Alright, how much
I
healing
thought
does
the
he
rope
take?
is attached to the deck.
Yeah, it's attached to the
Tied to
dock.
the deck.
Yeah, well, I'm still going to try to like get ready for it.
Okay, that's no problem.
Get ready
Well,
for
what's how much healing?
It's
does he
1d4 plus 3, so it's 6.
6.
6 heals.
Alright.
With an arrow in the neck.
He does
Yeah,
still
it's-
have an arrow in his neck.
It's a permanent feature now.
But he
It's an aesthetic choice.
kind of like grossly they like the wound sort of heals around the arrow.
Oh.
We
That's
can
gonna be a
Leaving
problem.
him with this weird like sort of tree that grew around a sign look with this crossbow bolt in his neck, but his breathing steadies. He has like a hand on it, but he knows enough. He knows enough that he's not gonna try and pull it out at this point.
Sounds
He's
like
able to
Steve
like he's kind of stabilized.
We can fix it, presuming that I live.
All right. So the bandits.
Presuming a lot there.
Yes.
The bandits are going to continue to roll away. So these guys hit the shore and just pile onto the shore and disappear into the trees. And that guy gets about as far as the foliage there. One of those is a dead body in that boat. he's not quite gone yet.
The arrow lady was the.
The arrow lady is the monster. She's underwater though. You're not sure where she's at. Presumably she is somewhere right near the side of the boat because you did see the last thing you saw was the hare went up to try and get.
So right
Royston.
now we've only spotted 2.
You've only spotted 2 currently.
Or one that's moved around.
Well, no, there's one definitely.
No, because one
that's
definitely has
Oh,
Nula,
okay.
and there's another one is like attacking the back of the ship. All right. So. Kel, a 23, I assume hits.
Yeah.
Hair
No.
up over the side, wraps you. You feel it like cut into you like daggers, and you are pulled just to the edge of the ship. You're pulled about 5 feet, kind of like skidding, and you see sort of like just at the surface this like beastly face of this creature. Just sort of, you can see the upper torso, and just where it starts to become too murky to see, you can sort of see the skeletal lower half of it looking up at you as it's trying to drag you over the edge of the ship with its hair. You do take. Wow, that sucks. You take 22 points of bludgeoning damage from the hair.
Did it just
And
cast
you are
sleep on you?
and you are grappled. You down? Ah!
What?
Whoa! Oh
I survived!
no! Oh no!
Bob, magic bomb, magic bomb, magic bomb.
Can't sleep on it.
You know what? If that's not a time that the wild magic goes off, I don't know what is. Go ahead and roll the wild magic table for me.
Thank God.
Oh god.
Unicorn.
He's gonna burn the ship down.
I was joking about the fireball center on the ship.
Unicorn.
What? Really? Yes.
That is 47. That is a unicorn.
We were prepared for this exact moment.
Henrietta's got an upgrade.
A goddamn unicorn appears on the deck of the ship.
And only Walter's here to see it.
I'm just like, I hear like a thump, and it's like, I look behind me, there's a goddamn unicorn out of nowhere.
Rafe is also looking there. He's going. Folks watching at home, I hope you're enjoying. Folks on Proficiency Bus, I hope someone clipped this.
Alrighty. Let me just pull up some unicorn stats real quick.
Good thing this isn't a
Does
aquatic
it
battle.
say it gets its own initiative, or does it act on yours?
You control it.
Okay, so I'll give it an initiative. Pretty good.
Can unicorns swim?
Stab shit with their face.
Alrighty. So that happens.
There are no other words.
Well,
Meanwhile-
17 episodes.
Meanwhile, underwater, Nula, it is your turn. You are grappled,
What's happening?
but otherwise in control of your full faculties, and this creature is trying to murder you.
I will. Can I use my weapons?
Mm-hmm.
I will strike it with my warhammer.
Okay, roll the hit.
17.
I believe that will hit.
We're going to smite.
Yes, it does hit.
Can I smite underwater?
I believe so.
Alright, that was 10.
10 points. Okay.
Yep, and then to smite. Where's the smite?
2d8 plus
2d8.
1 per level above 1, and then if it's an undead or fiend, what's the word?
It is, in fact, undead. So we'll take an additional,
Just
I believe,
two D8.
initial 2d8. Yeah.
That was 5.
No, plus 1. So it's 2, it's 3d8.
13.
Additional 13.
It's 3 total. D8.
Yeah, I rolled second attack again, or with the hammer.
Okay.
Nat 20.
Nice.
So that's 2, and I roll again.
So it's double.
Double,
That's
so 4.
plus.
So 8.
Plus another 8 damage.
Yep.
Are you going to smite?
Can I smite
Smite
twice?
twice?
I believe you can, as long as you have spell slots for it.
We spend.
Yeah, when you make a weapon attack.
Yep. Alright, so I will smite 1.
3d8 double.
So that was 5, 9.
11.
11.
22.
Turbo smite. Turbo smite.
Okay.
Please be dead.
No.
After
Not
2
quite.
crits?
Not quite. You haul off, and just at the edge of your reach from where she's got you grappled, you're able to just like uppercut her in the chin with your hammer. Even though like the force of the water like is dragging you down. The force of the smite goes off underwater like another depth charge blast. Even those so everybody underwater, like you now have full sight of what's going on here, as like 2 flashes go off from this hammer, clearly illuminating the area around you. Up above, those of you on the deck kind of see this like simultaneous double flash of,
I had like the
of light.
best / worst view of this because like unicorn popped up out of nowhere and then there's like flashing lights underneath the water. It's like I don't know where to look anymore.
I'm pretty sure Roger's going. Rafe is going. Why did I let these people on my boat? Why? I could be halfway home by now.
I was 2 days
Alrighty.
away from retirement.
So,
I got an arrow in my neck.
alright, that is Nula's turn. He is gone. Oh, he's in the water, so he. Alright, the bandit captain is still trying to climb up onto this like floating log. Which now go ahead and move that a little more. That's pretty much opened up enough to sail through now.
And then
He's like trying to get purchase on it, but it's like flopping around in the water because it's not attached to anything anymore.
I've got an important question about him. Does he know that there's a unicorn?
He does not seem to know that there's a unicorn at this point.
Are you gonna get sneak attack with the unicorn?
Alright.
I'm not going to do anything with the unicorn. I'm going to hope that I don't die.
So,
Excellent choice.
Alar, it is your turn.
Okay.
So you see this creature about 15 to 20 feet down from you.
I will use my bonus action to try and swim as fast as I can, dashing underwater. If
No
it's
problem. Sam, you can get up to her.
And since it is well engaged by you two, roll 25 to hit.
I will hit.
So sneak attack. That's more like it. 10, 11, 19 points of piercing damage.
Okay. Zanula,
Yes.
you are struggling against this thing. You've wailed on it with your hammer. It's just still like trying to reel you in. When suddenly there's a jerk, and about 7 inches of rapier come out right above its breastbone. And sort of like black Icarus blood starts to seep out from the wound. You feel the tension on these hair tendrils slacken, and all of a sudden, it's just like a drowned corpse floating in the water. You begin to sink immediately again, and she's no longer holding you up.
Which I cannot say on the stream.
Alrighty. Brom, it is your turn. So you just watched Alar swim up behind you, coup de grace the Rusalka in the back of the head, and now Nula is plummeting like a stone back towards the bottom of the river.
I do have a line in my.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it an action to take the rope from him, or can I just take
The rope is not going to be long enough to get down to her.
Okay.
You're short by about 10 feet.
I'll swim down to her, and I guess, am I strong enough to try and pull her back up?
Certainly try.
All right. I'm gonna at least try and pull her to the rope.
Make a strength check.
17.
How much do you weigh? In armor. With your shield.
Your total weight plus however much you decided your character weight.
What would that be listed?
Equipment's your total carry weight.
136.
That's how much stuff you're carrying. So it's probably like 300-ish pounds.
Yeah, she's not going anywhere in that armor. All right, so that's your turn. You are now down at Nula, kind of like hauling her up out of the mud as you're just like waded to the floor of this river. Alrighty, Walter, you're up.
Do I have to roll like a wisdom check to figure out what the hell's going on right now? Because there's a lot of nonsense happening.
It's hard to tell what's going on below the surface of the water. At least on the boat, there's now a unicorn.
Alright. at least on
Help,
the boat,
help.
there's now a unicorn. Okay, so I am going to.
I'm just shouting, I don't got it, I don't got it, I don't got it.
Shit. Yeah. So I'm gonna. Yeah. I guess. I'm gonna walk over here to this thing that's got Kel and just steal some. It's not life with my vampiric touch. So
The monster there?
yeah, I'm just gonna
Alright.
walk to the edge of the boat and just kind of
Roll the hit.
just try to swipe away at it and get it off him. 24? 24 to hit.
Oh yeah.
13 points of necrotic damage,
Okay.
and I will heal half. Is it rounded up? Down.
Rounded down.
Rounded down.
You'll heal 6.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So you stick your arms into the water and kind of get one hand on this thing's shoulder and one sort of like on the side of its face and just start to like leech life away from it. Bandits are gone at this point. Alrighty, so this thing. Let's see. Before it goes, Walter, at the end of your turn, the unicorn.
At the end of my turn.
At the end of Walter's turn, the unicorn is going to use a legendary action. So, in like a rainbow-colored cloud of mist, a unicorn is suddenly standing on the deck, kind of like looks around, surveying the area with this sort of like regal, majestic expression on its face. It sees you, Kel, wrapped in this foul creature's hair, an inch from death. And it goes, "The hell is going on here?" Hey, alright, hang on. And he tips his horn towards you, and there is like a swirl of rainbow-colored magic that fires from the horn and washes over you. Kel, a shimmering rainbow-colored golden dome shield appears all around your form.
Sure.
You currently have a plus 2 to your AC until the end of its next turn.
I mean, I was expecting a little bit of Lisa Frank. I didn't expect so much Frank. The mermaid now is going to attempt to get you again.
Yeah.
It's a 14 hit.
I'm going to cast shield.
So not anymore.
So whatever you already have a plus 2 to AC.
Yep.
Okay.
So
And
I'm
then
going
shield.
up to 19.
So 19. Okay. So she does not hit you. So these tendrils of hair like go to constrict and dig in and pull you in again and just strike into multiple shields of arcane energy just like boom, 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 around you. And you are protected. That is the end of the mermaid's turn. Which is at the top of the order. The unicorn. Standing on the deck. Kind of looks around. Sees what's going on in front of you. It looks towards the front of the boat. Looks back and he goes, alright, so I guess since I'm here, I'll help. You want I should deal with that? You want I should heal you? Or you want I should go get your friend out of the water?
That.
Alright.
Oh, kill that.
Panic knows best enough.
Alright. Kind of like clops up to the front of the boat. And he is going to make some attacks against the creature. Both of which will hit.
Oh. Saved by a south side unicorn.
Alrighty. So he actually, as he like kind of goes about this, he like sort of takes a lap, kind of like trots towards the front of the boat and like circles back and then comes running in this direction. So he is going to do. This is going to take a minute.
I just hope I survive long enough to see you.
I feel like you guys are gonna think we're crazy. Because like we're the only ones this freaking unicorn right now.
You I will not believe. You I may believe.
Raph is
Raph I will believe.
He does 32 points of damage to the creature there. So, and it basically he like kind of with limited space available to him sort of canters up and just comes to the edge of the ship and just lifts one hoof and just like stomps into the top of its head. And then leans down and gores it with his horn. And it gives this horrible, like, as the impact of the unicorn's attack, like, smashes it backwards off of the vessel. With this, just, like, gives out this, like, screech and dives beneath the water.
Is it running away?
Seems like it.
Would it provoke an attack of opportunity this one as well?
It did not move out of your threat range willingly. It was knocked out by the unicorn.
They were just like
So it does not provoke attack of opportunity. That brings us to Kel.
very confused right now.
Is just going to stare at the unicorn and like take a couple steps away from the edge of the boat.
Just kind of like just
Alrighty. Nula, you are on the bottom of the river right now.
With Braun.
With Braum.
Can I push myself to swim forward?
You,
Or am I
you
just-
are not going to be able to swim to the surface with that much weight on you.
Alright, I will cut myself out of my armor.
Alright, so you use your action, you cut the straps of your armor. Your armor falls away from you. You still have your shield and your hammer in your hands. It is going to be difficult to get up with those, but doable, potentially. Alrighty.
Just get
So you do still have some movement now that you're free.
Get 10 feet up to ALR.
So you kind of
Yep.
begin to swim, Braum sort of helping you a little bit. And you kind of get up, right up within range of Alar. Alright, this guy finally makes it onto this log. You see him like turn around, and he's like,
Jumps back in the water.
He's just
Nope.
runs
nope,
off
nope,
in that
nope,
direction.
Nope. 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 Nope.
Alar, your turn.
I'm gonna grab onto Nula,
I want the Nula.
and I'm gonna try and start.
Hand over handing. You're handing as well.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys kind of start to pull your way up towards the surface.
And strength check is a natural 20.
All right, easy enough. So at this point, we will drop out of initiative. You guys are able to get back up to the surface, get everybody back on board. The creature seems to have swam off, doesn't seem to come back. Everyone's kind of on alert for it.
Do we see the unicorn?
You guys come back onto deck to
Splash.
a
Splash.
unicorn. Standing there.
I roll.
As you guys kind of climb up, it turns around with a swish of a sparkly purple tail. Kind of looks at you. Hey, how you doing?
I take one look and I go, Francis, what the hell are you doing here?
I think you might be a little confused. I got a cousin, Francis.
Oh my god.
Do you know a unicorn?
Yeah, I know a unicorn. His name is Francis.
Yeah, that's weird. So,
Alar,
where the
yeah.
hell am I, and why am I here?
Yeah.
You're on the Nivian River. I don't know why you're here. I think I brought you here by accident. I don't know how. I don't know how to put you back.
Okay. Well, we seem to be in a bit of a predicament because, yeah, I don't want to be on a barge in the middle of the river. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Francis didn't like barges either.
Astonished cursing in Elven, moving into Draconic and Celestial. Just holy.
I'm gonna go down to the guys below decks and be like,
You should see this.
come.
So Walter kind of goes down below. You're like, guys, come here. And they're like, what? What's going on? All right. And so up above on deck as he disappears below. The unicorn is like, all right, well, yeah, I'm gonna maybe go onto the shore there, I guess, and we can. And he disappears. Right as Walter gets back up, and he's like, guys, look, you're not gonna believe it. And Tho and Hollum come up, like, bandaged, wounded, and they're like, what?
Kel,
Yeah.
what the celestial curse word?
No clue. Don't know. Almost died.
You met unicorn, you mini.
I'm gonna drag myself onto the boat. Look around. Okay. Well, the bands are. Oh, I see. Raph with it. Okay. Nula, you still. Nula, focus.
Use your knife. Use your new knife.
Yeah, Nula. I need.
Raph
you to
kind of has the arrow, he's like, later. We need to not be here anymore.
Okay. All right. You stay put. You three.
Yeah, everybody, they go about, they like begin to get things back together, and Worston, once you guys like slap him awake, takes over the quant pole and begins to push the barge through the blockade and move you guys further on down the river.
Sorry about your own.
There was a unicorn.
Yes, there was a unicorn. I'm gonna need you.
There was a unicorn.
Yes.
So as the party begins their progress for a little further south, We don't have too much time left in the session, but we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. I want to remind everybody at this point, if you have not done so yet, type birthday into the chat. Doing so will enter you in a raffle to win a set of birthstone dice provided by our sponsor, Little Dragon Corp. Also, a Chipotle gift card with $1 on it that we decided to give away tonight. So if you have not done so, do so now. When we come back, we'll only have a little bit of time left in the session before we start drawing for the raffle. So stick around with us. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes, really quickly, and we will see where the party's journey takes them. All right. See you guys in a minute. We've only got about 30 minutes left in tonight's episode, so if you have not done so yet, make sure to type the word birthday into chat in order to enter our raffle. We will be raffling off at the end of the episode a set of birthstone dice provided to us by our sponsor, Little Dragon Corp, for our belated celebration of proficiency bonuses 2-year birthday celebration that was last week that we missed due to power outages. We will also be giving away a used Chipotle gift card because we made a joke that we all thought was real funny that no one but us saw when the stream wasn't working during
Catch
the
it on
episode.
catch it in the YouTube version.
Catch it in the YouTube version.
Exclusive content.
So, if you haven't done so, enter now. Before we finish up for the night, we will make those drawings. So, we return. Your bandit encounter happened on the morning of your 10th day of your voyage south along the river. Since then, another roughly 4 days have passed. You know that within the next day of your journey southward, you should be coming into sight of the capital city of Niveria. The river has widened considerably, nearly a mile across in some places. The landscape
It's very beautiful. And green.
To address the question you just answered, they are based in Canada.
So there you go.
Little Dragon Corp is based in Canada.
Aww.
I'm like 99% certain.
Canadian company.
So, go
The
you.
DM can hear a dog chewing a pen a mile away.
We are. Let's. Somebody asked, "Do you have to leave the U.S. to enter?" Because he's in Canada, and I said
Nope.
no. So you can enter.
Can
And then we thought that Little Dragon Corp was based in Canada, but we don't have any proof to back that up.
I think they're based in Toronto.
I think that's right.
I can look it up.
It's not that important right now. So
Nope.
we will find out later. Moral of the story is we will get those dice to you wherever you are. That's a guarantee. Maybe, I don't know. But yes, I think Canada is probably fine. As I was saying, the landscape has flattened out and there is nothing but wide rolling plains of farmland on either side of you the last several days of your journey. At one point, as some of the others are kind of going about their business, just killing time on the deck of the ship, Raph, who has successfully had an arrow, a crossbow bolt removed from his neck, with some tense procedures from Alar and healing from Nula. He bears an interesting kind of double scar where it came in and went out.
Well, did you use the fancy dagger?
Oh, most definitely. The one that.
Sure.
Yep.
I mean, the bolt itself still left a mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you were able to cut it out without any further further injury. Walter, he kind of approaches you. He gets you sort of alone-ish on the deck. And he sidles up to you, and he's quiet for a while, just kind of sitting with you, watching the landscape and the water in companionable silence. But you get the sense that he's sort of ramping up to something. And after a while, he says, I don't mean to pry, but, well, I've never met one of the stories go. Have you actually seen him?
It's not something I enjoy talking about. The safest answer for you is to say no.
Kind of nods. He says, fair enough. Well, you know how the rumors are. They're all over the place. No one can truthfully claim to have seen him in years. We've certainly never met him. I just thought maybe. But I'm sorry I said anything. I appreciate the answer. That's all I wanted to know.
The Moxham name is old and powerful. It opens a lot of doors and closes some others, as you know. But if he wants to meet you, I'm sure he would.
Kind of nods and he laughs a little. He says, I'm not entirely sure that I would want that if he did. I don't tend to listen to such wild talk, but anyone who's supposedly been around as long as he has, I don't know. It goes quiet for a while. I was just curious. Nobody really even knows what he looks like. I mean, most say to be around as long as he has, if it even is one man all this time. They say he must be an elf, but strange, that's all. Can't help but wonder. He kind of pats you on the arm and he says, anyway, the walls of the city will be coming into view within the next several hours. We'll probably dock on the far port side of the river. You'll have to take either a ferry or one of the gondolas across. But you'll be in the capital by the end of the day.
See to it that our trip is documented here, and that we're sent back so you're paid for your time. Word of advice is some people gotta die to meet him.
He doesn't seem to know what that means per se, but kind of takes enough from the ominous tone of it that he's like, you know what? I'm just a simple boatman. He sort of moves away from you. Anything else over the course of that remaining 5 days that you guys had of travel before you, before I kind of bring you into port here? Anything else any of you would have wanted to do during that time?
Yeah, if I can get several moments alone with Brahm.
Sure.
Haven't had a chance to thank you again for saving my neck down in that dwarven crypt.
Don't worry about it.
No. Way you get by in this world is trying to do the best you can for other people, and sometimes it's gold, sometimes it's favor. So, saved my neck. On the border of the Empire, there are two cities that are close by to each other. You've probably heard of them. Talmark on this side. On the Invarian side, a city called Vale. If you you ever end up in there, around there, and you're in trouble, try and look for a tiefling. His name is Raxus Thorn. He's got people around. Chances are, if you ask for that name, one of his people will find you. When you ask, how do you know that name? Tell me I owes him a drink.
Alright. Keep that in mind. Alright. Anyone else?
Kel,
You almost died.
you summoned a unicorn.
Remember right after the Dwarven Crypt how we talked about making better decisions as a group?
Yes.
You leapt into danger and almost died.
I stood on a log and fell off the log. It was not my brightest moment, but I thought I could float on the log. I forgot how heavy dragon born are. But I'm glad you stayed on the boat. You needed to stay alive.
You need to stay alive. I almost died because you weren't there. Because you were drowning instead. You can't protect people if you're dead.
I guess you're right. I will try to be safer next time. Make better choices. Okay, tell me how you summon the unicorn.
I don't know. I still don't know. I'm not going to know. You can ask as many times as you want. I'm not going to know.
Do you know, like, where he lives?
No.
Do you know his name?
No.
Can we visit him?
I don't know. You know what? If you stay close enough to me, instead of jumping into danger, maybe next time we'll get sent to where he is instead of him coming here.
Promise.
I can't do that.
Moment later. How the hell did you summon a unicorn anyway? From across the boat. Where did that come from?
Do we have any of that ale left? I feel like after that instant, like Walter would absolutely be like just hammering beer until he just couldn't think anymore. Not sure it would have lasted the full 10 days of float though.
Maybe not.
So, that last 5 days of your journey passes uneventfully, at least in the sense that you don't get attacked by any more bandits or sea harpies, whatever they might have been. A
But
few
no
hours.
unicorns.
No more unicorns, unfortunately, despite what I'm sure was a literally unbearable barrage of requests from Nula to Kel the entire time.
Can you do it again? No. Can you do it again? No. Can you do it again? No.
To hiding in various covers in the below decks.
Henrietta has been quite melancholy since the sudden appearance and then disappearance of the unicorn.
no.
She seemed a little bummed out in her harness on the deck of the Brunhildr.
At some point, I have like paper mache a unicorn for her. Put it on.
Make a sleight of hand check. Later on the day of that conversation, that
13.
13. It's okay.
It is horn shaped.
Later on that same day, that Raph had approached you quietly with that kind of question about whether you'd ever met him. As he said, you guys come into sight of the city. The last several miles of your journey begins to, you see more and more populated along the banks of the river, buildings, small villages, small settlements, fishing encampments. And by just after midday of that last day. Finally pull in, and the large, sprawling metropolis of Niveria appears. You guys, probably, Brom with the exception of you guys probably have never been to a location quite so large as this. The city itself, you see as you approach, sits behind the eastern bank of the Nivian River, which at this point is perhaps 3/4 of a mile across. On that eastern bank, there are a series of crowded docks built along the sides. You see kind of a slightly haphazard, doesn't really appear to have been particularly organized, but sort of sprang up more organically between the bank and where you see the outer wall of the city is kind of a sprawling docks area. Seems to be a lot of warehouses, things of that nature. The walls of the city themselves, as you come up, you see are quite high. And they are made of a sort of a strange looking material you can see from a distance. The whole wall almost has this like slightly champagne color to it. It's like a little bit pearlescent. You guys can make a history check if you'd like. Nope.
3.
3?
It's a wall.
Is it though?
No, it was a 10, by the way.
22.
Okay.
17.
18. Alright, so you three are familiar with this, even though perhaps you might not have been here before. This wall, this high wall, is a large, you see it's kind of circular in shape as it curves away from you in either direction around the perimeter of this enormous city. This color that it's giving off, this sort of opalescence to it, you know that Niveria was built upon the footprint of an ancient Invarian city that was located here. The circular layout of the city, you have perhaps not been in it, but it's fairly common knowledge that the city of Niveria is arranged in a series of concentric rings. That design, that layout, is very popular in Invarian architecture. A lot of ruins, a lot of their ancient places share a similar sort of circular design to the structures that they build. The walls themselves, those pearlescent walls, are actually relics of the Invarian Empire itself. They're that old. The material has been unable to be replicated by modern craftsmen. They have no idea what the process through which the Invarians created this material is. They just know that it is extremely strong and extremely resilient to the wear of time. As you get a little closer, you do start to see that there are some places where it is not just one solid piece of this opalescent building material. There are some places where you can see patches have been put in that appear to be made of cobblestones, where some damage was done to the wall at some point and have been repaired with newer materials. But from what you know of the city, what you know of sort of lore, the primary footprint of Niveria and these walls that kind of separate it into different segments are original layout to whatever ancient Invarian city stood in this place thousands of years ago. You guys, however, do not dock on the eastern bank. You dock on the western bank. There. That is a small sort of suburb town referred to as Farbank.
It's on the far back.
It's on the far bank of Niveria, and they are not particularly clever about their naming around here. It serves as basically overflow, dock, and commerce space for the primary city. But it has everything that any town would have. It has its own taverns, inns, it has a keep, walls around it. Spanning the entire length of this river, you see. And even as you're kind of floating your way in, there are massive platforms that have been built on both banks of the river. Constructed up off of these platforms are these pylons, which have a like an interlocked gear cog at the top of them, and from these are massive chains which stretch the entire length of the river. They're supported at a few places across the breadth of the river by sort of like buoy style, not buoys, but like pylons that come up out of the river and support them so that the chain doesn't sag. But they bridge the gap across the entire river, and on each of these two massive, basically like pulley systems, there are humongous, like gondola-style barges, which, as these huge pieces of machinery turn, crank the chain and bring these gondolas back and forth from one bank to the other of the river. The one that you see, the closer one, is in the process of being brought back towards the far bank side of the river. You see is laden with crates, barrels, and supplies and things like that, as well as dozens and dozens of people, basically making the trip across the river. As you guys pull in to dock, the crew of the Brunhildr lashes the vessel up to the further northernmost docks of the vessel and kind of begins the process of unloading things, starting the rigmarole of getting Henrietta off of this vessel. Raph kind of breaks off, comes to you guys, says, it'll take us about an hour to get everything kind of unloaded and get dear Henrietta there in your cart off of the Brunhildr. If you want to take a stroll around Farbank, feel free to. Otherwise, one of the gondolas moors on this side of the river and makes the trip back about once every hour. And he points to the one that's there that they're in the process of like unloading and changing. He's like, you're probably going to miss that one, but you can likely get the far one on its next return trip over, and you'll be in Niveria.
Many thanks, Captain.
Thank you.
As I shake his
Goes
hand.
around shaking hands.
Forest Ward is?
Forest Ward.
You'll notice that as he pulls his hand away, there's a gold piece in it.
Okay.
He's got a gold piece.
Yeah. So he walks with you guys off the dock onto like the bank there, which is kind of like sandy dirt, so that he can then begin to like etch in the ground with his boot. And he draws a rough sort of circle, and then he draws several concentric rings inside it. And he says, "So the city is laid out in rings. The further towards the center you go, the more upscale things get, as one would expect. Castle Niveria is in the very center. As he kind of points, and you can even see from here, it appears as if like the interior portion is on a higher elevation, and like the highest point is, you see the walls of a very large castle, kind of sticking up at the high, and at the very, very highest point there is a single tower with a kind of a peaked spire that sticks up higher than anything else anywhere in the city, and it has that similar sort of champagne color of Invarian material. Gets fancier towards the center till you get to the castle, obviously. He says, Forest Ward is, and he points from where you guys are standing, he points towards the like southern half of the city. So it's the outermost ring towards the south portion. So he kind of points here, and he similarly draws kind of a rough circle here and divides it like this, and he indicates that that is the Forest Ward.
Okay, well that's good. It's close by the docks.
Where can I put a requisition order in here? On the far bank, or is it in the city?
He says, you've got a couple of options. There is there's a field. He points to kind of the sprawl outside here. He says, they call that the Dock Ward. Moxham Company has got a warehouse there. There's probably a foreman there you could talk to, or you can visit their official emissary. They've got one in the ambassador's ward. No, in the, now I gotta remember. They've got one in the guild ward, I think. No, they've got one in the ambassador's ward. It says there is there's a headquarters there. Mifflindian emissary is in the ambassador's ward. And he points back to his circle, and he points to this one. He says, "That's the ambassador's ward there. It's got the enclaves of governments and things like that. Moxham has a holding there."
I appreciate it, thank you. I will see to it that hopefully they will see fit to give you a bonus for your services.
At this point, I'm just happy that we're not all fish food.
That is a plus.
I got that.
Alright. So as they unload you guys, you prepare to either kind of check out anything you want in Farbank, or just kind of wait around and make your trip across the river into Niveria proper. I think that is a great place to call an end to tonight's session. So, let's start giving away some things.
And we should pass around the sticky notes.
Yes, chat. The map is my creation. I don't know if we can I was hoping it would be a better like.
We can post.
Yeah, we'll post up
pictures
a.
on our social.
I have some pictures. We'll post up some pictures of the map of Niveria onto like our social media and stuff.
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram.
Yeah,
We're also known to do smoke signals every now and then.
Hunt us down on social medias, Tabletop Legends everywhere. We'll put some pictures of this up. That's
you'll
what
You'll be able to tell it's us because we use our poster as our profile picture. So.
That's what I've been doing for the last week is making this thing.
Try this map.
Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Finally, we have reached the city of Naviria.
Now the big questions.
The big questions will be answered. We've been waiting all this time.
More importantly, who gets that gift card?
Who gets that used gift card for Chipotle? I'm going to hand these out. You guys can start voting for Golden D20 for next week. While we do this, chat, any of you guys in chat who have been watching along with us tonight, we do this thing called the Golden D20. This is this fancy Golden D20 that I have. Every week we make a vote, and one player receives the Golden D20, which is a free natural 20 that they get to use at any point that they want during the next week's session. So they are all going to make a vote. You guys at home can make recommendations as well. If somebody did something awesome tonight, if somebody had a really cool roleplay moment, a really cool combat moment, or otherwise just did something that you think is deserving of a little reward, go ahead and type a character name in chat, and that person has a chance to win this. Meanwhile, I have no idea why we cannot get Espeon into this role. So Espeon, if you are still with us here,
Hold on. We're gonna do it a backwards way because that's my girlfriend. So I'll just.
well, what I was gonna say is we're wondering if maybe they're in.
Let me see the notes because
You should be able to see that with
just the
Mubot.
sticky. No, I need the.
I think it's the Mubot giveaway.
I saw it every time she tried and it never got.
Yeah, I don't know.
response.
All right, let me do this. So.
I was gonna say if we're thinking maybe they're in.
All right, it let me in.
So if you win,
if
it'll
I
be
win, it's
all right.
yours. Yeah.
So if Scythian Nightingale wins, we'll use that as Espeon's entry. So sorry, I don't know why that didn't work. Sorry about that. Which means, all right. Got somebody snuck in here right at the end to get a shot at this. So we are going to give away some dice, and we're going to give away the used Chipotle gift card.
She's gonna win the used Chipotle gift card.
I certainly hope so.
Are we doing 2 or is it whoever wins?
We'll do
both?
2. No, we'll do 2. So first, Golden D20. Last chance if anybody wants to put an entry in for the Golden D20. Although I don't think it's going to matter because one of our players summoned a goddamn unicorn today. Kel. Kel, because I can't vote for the unicorn directly. Kel for the luckiest wild magic roll ever. Walter for mysterious background material. Kel because unicorn. I am missing somebody's.
This is a vote. I was just like, is this a vote or is this?
And Kel for Craig the unicorn nonsense. That did not come out in the roleplay, but the unicorn's name was Craig.
The lore continues.
Lore continues. So
Will
that's
we ever find out?
4 votes for Kel, which means he is the owner of the Golden D20 for next week. And I think the one I'm going to save is Kel because I can't vote for the unicorn correctly. That one made me laugh. Alrighty, so let us do a, if I remember how to do this correctly, giveaway. Alrighty, so the winner of a set of Little Dragon Corp birthday gemstone dice is Jeb Gavalia. Jeb, if you are still with us, I've seen you talking in chat all night. If you are still with us, I'm sorry that I probably butchered your name. Gavalia, maybe? I don't know. Put something in chat there so that we know you're still here. We will get in contact with you, get some information on how to get you those dice. We'll give him a couple of minutes here if Jeb does not reply to us to let us know he's here. Oh, there he is. Jeb.
Yay!
Yay!
Congrats!
So there's Jeb. I'm assuming Jeb is a he, but maybe I'm wrong. He or she. Congratulations to Jeb, who so needed some dice. Alrighty, so Jeb, in a second, we're gonna send you a message, probably from the Tabletop Legends Twitch here, and get some information from you on how we can get you some dice. So. Gavali. Oh, I said it right the first time. Nice. Maybe I didn't. I don't know.
That is a he.
Trust your
Okay.
instincts.
Jeb Gavalia. So congratulations. And now the real prize, the used Chipotle gift card. Boy.
Friends mock your metal dice. Get better friends.
Hit him with the dice. They're heavy. Don't do that. That's assault.
I wanted metal dice for like 3 years, and I could never justify spending money.
So worth it.
Oh my God.
We want our own Chipotle gift card! So
Wait,
we're gonna redo that. When I was trying to see if it worked, I didn't enter to see if it was up.
I mean, you were gonna use it anyway, so.
So let's do that again. Once more, with feeling. Scythian Nightingale. So Espion, 4790, you are the proud new owner of a used Chipotle gift card. Congratulations, buddy.
Is
Oh
that one?
gosh.
I'll hand them
Good
this.
health.
She can't eat there, but that makes it even funnier.
Well,
She can just get like a side of guac. And just eat that with a spoon.
I would maybe frame the Chipotle gift
Oh,
card
it's
and
gonna
just
happen.
put it on the wall. So thank you guys for joining us tonight. Join us again next week, Tuesday at 7 p.m. right here on Proficiency Bonus for our next exciting installment of Tabletop Legends. Thank you again to all of our sponsors, Little Dragon Corp, purveyors of fine dice, one of which our good friend Jeb is about to receive. You can check them out at littledragoncorp.com and enter bonus if you choose to purchase anything for a 10% discount. Thank you to Marble Moon Studios in the 8th House for sponsoring Tabletop Legends. Check them out at marblemoonstudio.com and shopthe8thhouse.com and buy our friggin' Tabletop Legends mugs because they're awesome. And you can get them without saying Tabletop Legends if you just like the Magic AF D20 insignia, but you don't want to admit that you watch us because you're rightfully embarrassed.
By 1, by 40, whatever.
Whatever your heart tells you. So thank you for joining us. We will see you again next week, and have a good night. See you guys. Bye.